Everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today I've just finished watching episode 4 of Loki. This was a crazy one. Obviously, full spoilers review, so go watch the episode first. And okay, let's just get into this. The episode starts with a flashback of sorts to basically the moment when Lady Loki, Sylvie, was captured as a child and charged of a crime of, disrupting the timeline. Now, later on in the episode, she will ask, like, wait, what was my crime exactly? Like, what was the Nexus event that caused the TVA to, steal my entire life? Because literally she was like a little child when they came and took her. And she only gets the response of, oh, I don't remember. That's it. So she never gets like an exact answer. I suspect, what's maybe might be the case is that it's because she decided to be a girl in the wrong moment, I guess. Because, Loki can transform into anything. He's a shapeshifter, so he can be male or female or anything at any moment. But I don't know. The only thing I can guess is that, she decided to be the enchantress of mischief instead. And that is what caused her to, like, oh, that's not what you're supposed to be doing, and so they came and got her. That's the only thing I can think of, that unless there's some other big reveal. But anyways, we get that little scene, that flashback, and it's pretty messed up, and so you really get, like, you start to feel some real sympathy for her character, because wow, it was literally just a kid that these time police just took away. So you really start to get the sense of, like, okay, people literally just, they don't do anything wrong. They can just not be doing the thing that they're supposedly supposed to be doing, and there you go, that's it. So wow. Anyway, so we get back to the moment where the two Lokis are on this planet that is about to be destroyed, where we left them off from last episode, and they have a real connection moment. And last episode I was starting to get the sense of, like, oh, there's some romantic tension happening here, and I was like, is it strange to fall in love with yourself yourself from another timeline? I don't know. And a lot of people pointed out that, like, that's the most Loki thing that could possibly happen, because he's, such a narcissist. He's so full of himself, and like, he has such a high opinion of himself that of course he would fall in love with himself. And that definitely appears to be the case, because a Nexus event starts happening on the moon where they're at, which, if you remember, and this confused me when I first watched it, because during these apocalyptic events, because everything gets wiped out anyways and does not affect the rest of the timeline, that is the reason that they were such good places to hide, is because they would not trigger Nexus events. So when one starts getting triggered, I was really confused. I was like, wait, this kind of goes against the rules that they set up. And basically for the rest of this episode, what Morbius is trying to, or Morbius, I don't know which way it is. Anyways, what he's trying to figure out is, like, what triggered this event, because something triggered it there, when honestly they shouldn't have been able to find them. And it's revealed that it's because they started growing feelings for each other, the two Lokis. Somehow that was a thing that triggered an event in the timeline, and it would have created this whole other thing. I'm not really sure how that makes sense, as far as, like, timeline logic goes, but apparently that was enough to create a Nexus event, is their feelings for each other. Two Lokis, two variants who are not supposed to exist in a place that they're not supposed to be, having feelings for each other was enough to trigger a thing. So anyways, they end up getting captured, and they end up getting separated, and at first Loki is not telling them the truth that he learned, that everyone in the TVA is variants, and so he, as like a punishment, he gets stuck in this little prison cell of a time loop of some other time, when I guess he pulled a prank on what is her name? Oh, Lady Sif, where I guess he cut her hair or something, and then she got mad and punched him, and then storms off. And so it just keeps on looping over and over again, which it's a cool cameo to have Lady Sif back, because of course she was not in Thor Ragnarok, so it is cool to like finally have that character back. Yes, I know she was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like season 1, I think. So you know, it's cool to see that character came back after being absent for quite a long time now. I don't know, it does feel like maybe they could have done more for his punishments. They, like, you know, still have her involved, I guess, but like it feels like they could have done a little bit more than just like, oh, he's just the consequences of some random prank where he cut her hair. It was fine, but it does feel like they could have used that moment to have some more significance to it, I guess. In any case, basically all he manages to tell Mobius before he gets sent in this room is the TVA is lying to you. Meanwhile, Mobius is trying to figure out, hey, what happened to that agent who kept on repeating, it's all real, whatever happened to her? And then the director of this place, I think her name is Rainer. Again, I'm not so great with names. I think her name's Rainer. Tells him that, like, oh, well, she was starting to, you know, her mind was all scrambled because she got possessed, and she's talking nonsense. And of course, Mobius isn't entirely buying this, and they have like this long, very tension-filled discussion about like, okay, where would you go if you can go anywhere? And oh, you did, the case is closed, everything's fine. And he's like, why wouldn't you let me interrogate the other Loki? You know, and it's of course because the other Loki would have told him immediately, like, hey, you're all variants. I can show you, I can enchant your mind, go inside your brain, unlock those memories, and prove to you that, like, yeah, this is your life, this is what your whole deal was. So they have this whole tension-filled thing. He steals her data pad, learns that Rainer was actually, you know, the one agent who kept repeating it's all real was in fact trying to tell everyone that, like, hey, we're all variants, it's all fake. And then Rainer stopped her and is responsible for killing her there. So he goes to Loki and says, like, all right, let's go save the other Loki, and let's, you know, bring down the TVA, and let's figure this all out, right? And it feels like, okay, the team is finally gonna come back together. It's all gonna be awesome. You know, finally we're gonna break these people out and tear down this system, right? Now that Morbius knows the truth, and that, you know, at the very least they know that the TVA is not what it says it is. We don't know the full truth yet. And even by the end of this episode, we learned some major things. We'll get to it, but you know, in this moment, they know enough to be like, all right, we got to tear this system down and figure out what's really going on here. Unfortunately, right as they're leaving Loki's prison room, the rest of the TVA is waiting for them. Judge Rainer, I'm sure that's her name. Judge Rainer zaps or orders Mobius to be zapped, and so he's gone. And I can tell you, I sat down and I was like, oh my god, they just killed Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson's dead. Now, you know, we'll talk about this in a minute, but that might not be the case, really. Maybe I'm not sure yet, but for now, I guess we're gonna go with Owen Wilson is probably dead. Which, man, that sucks, because he was such a great part of this show. So if he's gone for good, that's really, really sad. Although, of course, you know, time travel, they can always, I guess, go find a different variant of Owen Wilson and, you know, something like that, I guess. But man, if that really is the end of him, that really sucks, and it's really sad. And oh man, I honestly, like, I kind of gasped. I was like, what? Anyway, so they bring both of the Lokis before the timekeepers. Okay, and at first, you know, like everyone's theory was like the timekeepers aren't real, right? Like they're all just, it's a Wizard of Oz style lie, right? And they bring them before the timekeepers in this big smoky room, and the timekeepers start talking and moving, and they all talk a little bit differently, and I'm like, okay, maybe they are real, right? Like they seem to have distinct personalities, and you know, they don't seem like they're just projections or just someone in a costume, right? I'm like, okay, I guess maybe this is like legit to a degree at least. And then the fight breaks out, and basically because Sylvie earlier in the episode had talked to the one, I don't remember her name. It might be C20. I don't know. They all have number designations. Talked to the one guard who had beat up Loki a whole bunch in the very first episode, and was always like, you know, the tough lady. Basically unlocked her memories because she had also gotten possessed in the last episode. No, episode before that. She had also gotten possessed, also learned, like, hey, I saw glimpses of my real life. And so basically she helps them out at this last moment, frees their collars, throws them one of their swords, that way they can fight. And we don't see what happens to her. I don't know if she got zapped. I don't think we see that. She got knocked down. And I don't know if we're supposed to just kind of be implied that she did get zapped, trying to save them in that last moment. But anyways, a big fight ensues. They knock out everybody. And they have Judge Rayner on the floor, knocked out. They didn't zap her. And in this moment, I was like, did they zap her? I don't know. Sylvie throws the knife at one of the timekeepers, and his head rolls off. And when she's about to destroy the other two, Loki's like, wait. He picks up the head, and of course it's a giant old school robot head, right? Like it's like a 70s style robot head with these giant mechanized gears and whatnot coming out and sparks flying. So they're just robots. They're just androids. So yes, it was indeed a Wizard of Oz style thing. There is still someone is behind this. Someone somewhere is doing all of this. But the timekeepers are fake, like many of us suspected they were. And then, man, and this had me too. So our main Loki talks to Sylvie, and he's like in the process of like confessing his feelings, right? And in kind of like whatever triggered this Nexus event, you know, he's just like, it was love, right? Or feelings, or whatever you want to call it. And right as he seemingly is about to kiss her, he gets zapped from behind and he starts disintegrating. And again, just like the Owen Wilson thing, I was like, what the fuck? Did they just kill off the Loki that we've been following this whole time? And is the rest of the show going to be centered around Sylvie, the lady Loki? And I guess I'd be fine if it was, but she wasn't introduced until episode 3 or something, and so I don't know, or episode 2. No, yeah, basically she wasn't really introduced until last episode, even though we saw her in episode 2. But I'd be like, I guess I'd be fine with that, but it was shocking to if they really killed off the Loki that we have recognized for the last 10 years as Loki, anyways. So he gets zapped, and then she captures Judge Rayner then, because she was still alive. They didn't zap her when they probably should have. So he gets zapped, and then Sylvie, basically takes Judge Rayner prisoner, hold her at spear point, zapper point, whatever you want to call it, and says, "You're gonna tell me everything, the whole truth," because Judge Rayner might know what's happening. It's very unclear, to be honest, because here's the thing, is that earlier in this episode we saw for like a brief moment Judge Rayner took the elevator down to the timekeepers, entered the room, and she was all scared and all like, I have to talk to the bosses, right? And then we saw like their eyes light up, and that was our first glimpse of the timekeepers. It's just their eyes lighting up. And then she walks out of the elevator later saying like, okay, the timekeeper said this and this and this. So did she know it or not? It feels like she might not have even known that they were androids, that they were fake. So I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence as to how much she's aware of. She seems to definitely have been aware that they were all variants, but maybe not aware that the timekeepers were androids. So I'm not sure how much information we're actually going to get from her. I'm still suspecting that Kang is gonna be involved in some way. I even kind of tweeted out that, like, I think that middle well, I thought that middle timekeeper, who everyone kind of says looks like Kang the Conqueror a little bit, and then there's a character called the One That Remains or whatever. I think that Marvel's gonna do what they usually do and kind of blend a couple of characters together, and that was gonna be their Kang the Conqueror. So I don't know. I think that maybe he's still behind all of this in some way, because I feel like this is all gonna be a setup for Ant-Man and the Quantumania and all that. But anyways, yeah, so she's captured, and we don't know how much information she actually knows. She might not know much else, really, but we'll find out. And that was the end of the episode. And man, I was like, they killed off Owen Wilson. They killed off the Loki that we've been following this whole time. Those are some pretty bold choices, and we still have 2 episodes left. You've revealed a lot this episode, so I'm not sure. Like, obviously you still have essentially you have one last reveal to go. You know, it's who's really behind all of this. That's like the last big play you have. And then of course you have the timeline scattering into chaos and multiverse and all that. So I guess you have 2 big plays left that are probably going to happen by the end of the show. And I was like, man, that's pretty bold. I don't know how the fans are gonna accept this, because that was, you know, that some people are gonna be disappointed that you killed off one of the Lokis right as everything seemed to be coming together. But luckily I stuck around. There is a post-credit sequence where the Loki we've been following, the one that just got zapped, he wakes up and he's like, well, am I dead? Is this hell? And then he hears a voice and says, no, but you will be dead soon if you don't come with us. And he sees seemingly 4 different Lokis from different timelines. You have an old man Loki who is wearing the very comic accurate Loki costume. You know, it looks like the old school Halloween costumes, right? You have a kid Loki. You have a really big guy Loki, like super muscular tough guy. And then you have an alligator Loki. And I think the alligator Loki also has a little Loki crown on, and it's just an alligator. It doesn't talk or anything, or at least it hasn't talked yet. It's just an alligator, which is kind of awesome. If there's just an alligator Asgard or something, which is crazy. Which, I mean, we know he can turn into animals. Like Thor told that story of him turning into a snake, but it's just really cool to see an alligator Loki. I don't know why. So yeah, in any case, it seems for now that, I don't know if this applies to everyone. It might just be Loki, but when they get zapped, maybe they don't actually die. Maybe they get sent somewhere else, wherever this place is, because presumably all of these other Lokis that he sees in this one moment were all Lokis that have been terminated in the past, because, you know, they're clipping off these branches, these variant branches, you know, one at a time. So I have to imagine that these were all like Lokis that the TVA thought had been dead because they zapped them. So whatever this is, whatever this place he is in now, this is maybe this is where everyone really goes, which is why I'm saying that Owen Wilson's character might not actually have been. Maybe he's not dead. Maybe he might still be around in whatever this place is. I hope. Because I don't want Owen Wilson's character to just be gone now. I want him to, you know, like a lot of people said, I want him to be on a jet ski. And it's really tragic if that's how he died, because his last things he said is like, you know where I'd want to go? I'd want to go somewhere on a jet ski. That's what I'd really want to do. I just want to go riding on a jet ski. And then that's when he gets zapped. So I don't know. I hope he's still around, and obviously we're gonna get even more answers as to like what this place is that he woke up in. I hope that it's not exclusively for Loki's, because you know that means he's gone. On the other hand, if that means that everyone who's ever been zapped ever is actually still around, then I have to question, like, so does that mean the multiverse does exist? Or you know, then that brings up even more questions, and we only got 2 episodes left, so I don't know how much they're gonna do here. This might end up being just a Loki thing, you know. Man, so a lot of stuff happened this episode, just so much stuff. The timekeepers obviously ended up being fake. That seems like a thing that, and I'm glad they revealed that now and not like in the last episode, because that definitely feels like something that most of us kind of knew at this point. Like, yeah, there's some bullshit's happening here. And like I said, Judge Rayner knew some things to a degree. The other thing is, like, she was with all these soldiers. Did all those people that were with her, did they know that they were variants? I don't know. It seems like she can't have been the only one who knew about the variants thing. Some other people had to have been in on it. She has to at least have like her own private police of the TVA that are, you know, kind of in on it with her. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know how much information she can have at this point, because it felt like she still believed that the timekeepers were a real thing. So I don't know if she knows anything further past this. But yeah, that's the end of this episode, and just like all episodes of Loki, I'm left with a lot of questions, a lot of possibilities, a lot of theories as to what could happen next. But man, this one really just, like, you know, I'm not gonna lie, the first half of this episode I was kind of feeling like, it's, I don't know, it's kind of just, it's not doing its usual thing that this show has been doing up to this point. But then the second half of the episode really like kicked into gear, and major things started happening, and a lot of questions, some things started getting answered, and other things like that just invented even more questions. All I can say is I hope that by the end of this show, which we got 2 episodes left of, I hope that it ends on some like mostly satisfactory note, where I'm sure we're still gonna have some questions as to how does this work and how does that work and how does any of this make any sense, and you know, whatever. But I really hope that you know, there's not some giant unanswered question that seems really important that we're kind of just left hanging here. I don't know. I hope it's all, you know, mostly tied together in a neat bow. Obviously there's going to be some unanswered stuff, because we know King the Conqueror is going to be an Ant-Man, and you know, so they kind of have to leave the gate open a little bit. But I don't know, hopefully this show doesn't end like just very open-ended, kind of like, you know, WandaVision felt like it ended kind of just who knows what happens next kind of thing. Anyways, yeah, let me know what you guys think. This episode is crazy. Like, I'm still processing it for the most part. Yeah, let me know your theories. Let me know what you think is going to end up happening at the end of this, and who do you think is really behind all this? Is it just Judge Rayner? That'd be a little disappointing, right? If it was like she's just the one who's pulling the strings. It's like, oh, okay. You know, I hope there is some sort of reveal character here. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.